for New York.
Welcome to this week's edition of New York Now. I'm Dan Clark. The clock is ticking in Albany. There's now less than a week left in this year's legislative session, and we don't know if lawmakers are planning to pass any big ticket items before they leave for the year. But one issue that's getting a lot of attention at the state capitol is crime, and specifically gun control. And that's not out of the blue. Crime is up across New York compared to past years, with a spike in shootings statewide. Cities like Albany, Rochester, and New York City have all seen shootings skyrocket in recent months, in a year that's turning out to be deadlier than before the pandemic. And Democrats say that's only going to get worse as the weather gets warmer. Assemblymember Diana Richardson.
We know that the summer months are ahead of us. We know what that brings for Black and brown communities. And we know that we do not have any more time on our side to decide when is the right time to do what's right. Now is the time.
So Democrats are targeting crime by setting their sights on illegal guns, hoping that helps bring down the number of shootings. The Senate passed a package of gun bills this week, but we don't know if the Assembly plans to take them up. One of those bills would set new requirements for gun owners like mental health screenings and drug tests, while another would allow people to sue gun manufacturers when their products are used in a crime. But Republicans say that Democrats are missing the point. They say the problem isn't just illegal guns, it's a shift in culture. Senate Republican leader Rob Ortt.
But the idea that you're going to hold gun manufacturers responsible for the acts of people, especially if they're already committing a crime by possessing an illegal weapon, I don't see how that changes anything. Criminals, the very people we're here talking about today, that we want to help, that we need to solve their problem, they, by definition, don't follow laws. That's why they're criminals.
And that's just one issue that lawmakers are considering before session ends on Thursday. Let's break it down with this week's panel. Our own Daryl Camp is here, and Kate Lisa is from Johnson Newspapers. Thank you both. So Kate, I want to go to you first. We're watching a lot of different things for the end of session. One big issue that keeps coming up is parole reform. What's going on there?
Yeah, so activists have been rallying hard this week all across the state. We've been seeing rallies going on concurrently in cities at the same time. I think every day this week, people are really pushing for elder parole and fair and timely parole passage. It's been big conversation, and a lot of lawmakers seem to be getting behind the issue too, jumping on board, saying that this needs to be done this session. Elder parole specifically would allow for a parole hearing for anyone imprisoned over the age of 55 or older who's served 15 years on their sentence, at least, and that the Fair and Timely Parole Act would also just accelerate.
It's like a presumption of parole, right?
Yeah.
And like the parole board would have to, if they wanted to not grant parole, basically prove why somebody should be kept in prison.
But after they serve the minimum,
yes,
not just automatically, arbitrarily, there is actually a standard there.
Right.
And I think this week too, the Republicans had a big press conference specifically about their own parole reform that they have, which would actually strengthen the requirements needed for someone to be considered or even released. So I think that shows that clearly the conversation is going toward maybe this will get passed this week before the end of session.
And I think part of it is that, and I said it before, is that we just don't really know what's going on for the next 7 days. Session ends next Thursday, which is June 10th. So we haven't really heard what lawmakers are doing, any big ticket items. Daryl, what are you watching for the end of session?
Well, two things. First of all, something really important. You're the expert on this particular issue, and that's appointments to the Court of Appeals. They should probably be dealing with that right now, but the pushback against Madeleine Tsingis as a prosecutor is significant. I don't know whether or not that will actually stifle her, but it's major. And the other thing is gun reforms in response to street violence, which is an interesting thing. If you watched last week's show, Pat Fahey was on, and she talked about that for a while. And that's the major bill, the one that would allow manufacturers to be sued. It's strange, though. It's a little odd because of the fact that, in theory, this is like suing Anheuser-Busch or some rough equivalent for DWI crashes if you want to sue gun manufacturers for crimes that the manufacturers themselves are not involved in. And I think to adjust street violence to a point where people feel safe, you're going to need a cultural shift similar to what we saw with DWIs, where you have Mothers Against Drunk Driving and similar things. You have every holiday where drinking's involved, the governor comes out and says, hey, don't do this, and lower levels of government do the same thing. We haven't really seen the same thing as far as a cultural shift in the urban centers and with urban leaders. So that's probably something that should be addressed that isn't necessarily legislative.
So I want to circle back to the Court of Appeals, but I want to stick on the gun control bills for just a little bit. So we have the bill that you mentioned with the Pat Fahey interview that we had on last week's show. Feel free to go to our website and check that out. It's an interesting bill. The way that it's framed, and I'll just put on my lawyer cap for just a few seconds, is that you'd be able to sue if the guns caused a public nuisance. And I can imagine that's going to be tough for people in court to be able to say, this shooting happened, so here's a public nuisance.
Well, going back to the alcohol analogy, we know that prohibition doesn't work, so we've come up with ways to shift things culturally. Prohibition, it's not about getting rid of all guns, as they've said, but it's about sort of clamping down and minimizing the travel between states or between owners or between owners and illegal thieves. So what you're going to see is, although the option is available, I think it won't necessarily be used, meaning it won't have a substantial effect on gun crime.
That's what I'm thinking too. I don't know. Well, another part of it's education too, is if people don't know that they can file these lawsuits, which is a lot to do with litigation, then maybe they won't end up filing them. So that's a big issue that we're watching. A package of gun control bills passed the Senate. As we said, we don't know what's going to happen in the Assembly. But something that did happen this week in the Senate is they passed what's called the Adult Survivors Act. Kate, I want to go to you. What is the Adult Survivors Act, and do we see it going anywhere in the Assembly?
So the Adult Survivors Act was modeled after the Child Victims Act that was passed in 2019, and it opens a look-back window, allowing any victim of sexual abuse who's over the age of 18 to file a case and seek justice against their abuser. The Child Victims Act was for incidents that happened when someone was 18 years old or younger. So this is for incidents, I guess there's cases in the fashion industry. Models talk about how, this kind of thing, like processing the trauma, they need this look back window now if it's outside the state's statute of limitations on these kinds of crimes. So that passed the Senate. It's stalled in the Assembly. I believe it's in the Assembly Judiciary Committee, has been for a while. So I've been talking to leading activist on the Child Victims Act, Gary Greenberg. He's a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, and he has talked about how there's significant flaws with the Child Victims Act in how victims have been struggling to get legal representation for their cases because unless they're trying to file suit against someone who has money or an institution that has money, attorneys really aren't interested in pursuing their cases. So he's saying the Adult Survivors Act is modeled exactly like the Child Victims Act, and it's just going to create the same problem for people over the age who had this happen to them when they were 18 years or older.
That's really interesting because that issue with the Child Victims Act has been going on since they passed it. Advocates have said this doesn't encompass everybody who's experienced child sex abuse. One advocate that I talk to frequently, Connie Altamirano, her abuser lives in a different country and doesn't have the money. So she had trouble finding representation as well. It's an ongoing problem. There are so many other issues that we could talk about for the end of session, but we do have to leave it there. Our own Daryl Camp, thank you, and Kate Lisa from Johnson Newspapers, thank you both so much.